him on camera here. They're all down there dressed up, waiting to be in line there. We get the whole group.
to the 26th Annual Commencement Ceremony of Lane Community College. There are several of us gathered around the podium who will have a few words of welcome, of thanks, and perhaps even of advice. We are, however, not nearly as important to this ceremony as any one of you seated here on the platform. Each occupied seat represents hundreds of hours of preparation for each of you. It has been a long walk to this platform. Amen. And for each of you, this evening is only a brief interlude before an exciting new beginning. Wherever you are headed, we pause this evening to recognize and to celebrate your success. I would like to begin this evening's ceremony by acknowledging the board members of Lane Community College who give freely of their time, not just once a month, but often as many times as once a day. They work closely with the college staff to help make all of LCC's programs run smoothly. I would particularly like to recognize longtime board member and great friend to Lane Community College and chair of the board this year, James Pitney, Chairman Pitney.
A date to remember, May 31, 1991, Lane Community College commencement. Welcome, graduating class of 1991. Welcome, parents and grandparents, family, friends, teachers. Controls so well. I discovered tonight in the dressing room what I've always suspected. He uses a whip.
I want you to know that last night, Jim Pitney took all the notes off the podium, so my brains were gone for the rest of the evening. Tonight, he left his. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you at this time the President of the Associated Student Body. Michael Omagrosso has served Lane Community College as editor of Denali, the literary and visual arts magazine, as editor of the school newspaper, The Torch, as well as the student body president. Michael has been a dedicated and diligent advocate for his fellow students throughout the past 3 years. It's a pleasure for me to introduce him to you this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, Student Body President Michael Omagrosso.
See, you're supposed to scrunch down or what? I'm not quite sure. Pull it up. Pulls up. Okay. Well, welcome all of you, family and friends, faculty, staff, and the graduating class this year at Lane Community College. You did it. Congratulations. Well, you haven't got your diplomas yet, but anyway, a job well done. But what does that mean? The German philosopher, dramatist, and poet Goethe wrote, "Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it." You did that. You came to Lane Community College. You started walking on the path that people have walked on for 26 years now. You've acquired degrees, certificates. You've acquired some knowledge. You've graduated. When I found out I needed to speak here, I decided I should find a little background on that word graduation. And I looked in my trusty dictionary, the collegiate Merriam-Webster. One of the definitions was, a graduation is a mark on an instrument or a vessel indicating degree or quantity. Degree or quantity. I'd like to rephrase that a little bit. You won't find this in the dictionary. But graduation is the indication that is bestowed upon you, the vessel, of the acquisition of a specific amount of knowledge. Your graduation. Yes, you did it. Goethe continues his couplet, or ends his couplet, with boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Genius, power, and magic. You've demonstrated boldness by beginning the path and ending that path, at least this far. You have gained the power, which is knowledge, your education. And now it's time for you to work the magic by applying this power, this knowledge, to what you wanted to do when you came here, to what you dreamed you could do. I'm your student leader, and I admire you for what you've done. For in my 5 years, I haven't accomplished that yet here at LCC, and I look forward to following in your footsteps next year. Thank you very much.
Each year, a faculty member is chosen to extend greetings to the graduating class. Although Susan Dunn, whose name appears on the program, is unable to be here this evening, she and the entire faculty are well represented by Susan Swan, who is also an instructor in English. Her many contributions to Lane Community College, in addition to her teaching, include serving as coordinator of our freshman composition program and coordinator of the college Writing Across the Curriculum program. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce to you at this time Dr. Susan Swan. Dr. Swan.
Well, I hadn't originally planned to address you tonight, but I'm very happy to be here. Some of you I know well, and I'm very pleased to be speaking to you tonight. A number of us will be commenting tonight on the things that you have gained during your time at Lane Community College, some knowledge, some skills, some experiences, and how you're going to take those along with you when you walk out of here with your diploma or your certificate. And you know when you receive your diploma tonight that you've earned it. You're the one who's put in those hours, the hours in class, in labs, in study groups, and all those long solitary hours reading, taking notes, memorizing, writing, worrying. You've not just been willing receivers of something called education, but I don't really need to tell you about the commitment it takes for you to get to this point tonight. You know that very well. What you may not know, though, is what your teachers have gained during your time here at Lane Community College, what your presence in our classes and in our lives has meant to us. Your presence alone has allowed us daily opportunities to dig into the subjects we love, and as we've prepared for each class, we've become students again ourselves. We've become lost once again in the pleasures of language and the pleasures of discovery. Then we've gone to class to talk with you about what we've read and what we've thought, and that's another pleasure you've made possible for us. It's stimulating to talk to other people about our subjects. But then when you spoke up in class, when you responded to our words, and then when you began to talk among yourselves, we've known the real joy of teaching. At those times, it's no longer easy to distinguish the teacher from the students. We're all being educated. In your remarks in class, in the papers you wrote, in your meetings with us in our offices, many of you have given to your teachers as much as we've tried to give to you, and we want to take this opportunity to thank you. In a community of learners, we're all students, and we're all teachers. Sometimes what we've learned from you has been outside the subject matters we've prepared. Sometimes you've taught us valuable lessons about life, about overcoming hardships, about persevering against a lot of difficult odds. Because for many of you, the path that's led to this moment hasn't been an easy one. And we've watched you struggle sometimes, and we've witnessed your determination. You've inspired us, and for that too, we thank you. But now you're ready to move on. So take with you as you go the best wishes of your teachers and our thanks for what you've given us.
Of all the great work that humankind does, none is as important or as taken for granted as teaching. At Lane Community College, it is our reason for being. In the daily exchange on our campus, in the classroom, on our playing fields, and in our meeting rooms, minds are molded, hearts are opened, and lives are shaped. That's a tricky and often difficult business. To do it well requires a scientist's commitment, an artist's gift of passion, and a parent's sense of love. Not everyone is so fully blessed, but those who are those who teach. No one can simply provide students a list of all that should be important in life. Students must discover what is important for themselves, with the professor's help, and when they make these discoveries, they grow. Good teachers encourage this growth in their students by knowing them and by caring about them, and also by caring passionately about the subjects they teach. Teachers keep the passion for their subject alive in a myriad of ways: by their interest in students, their love of people, their very nature. What takes place between a professor and a student is not like a chemical reaction. There is no formula for it. It's more like the painting of a picture or the composition of a musical score. It involves emotions and human values. And to do it well, you must throw your heart into it. Because it is such an art, you can never be sure of the outcome. One day the results might be wonderful and pleasing. Another day might be fraught with discouragement and dismay. This requires that each professor have the ability to envision what each student could become and the patience to see that vision fulfilled. Tonight, the administration, along with the faculty, have gathered together with you, graduates, family, and friends, to share in that fulfilled vision. And I am pleased to introduce to you at this time the Vice President for Instruction, James Ellison, who will in turn present this year's Teacher of the Year Award. Jim Ellison.
Good evening. As Jack stated, teaching is the most important thing we do at Lane Community College. And tonight it's my pleasure to introduce the outstanding teacher for 1991. The recipients of this award are chosen for their teaching effectiveness, their classroom style, their department participation, their professional activities, and their contributions to the college and the community. This evening's award winner is a foreign language teacher and is described by her students as a dynamo and a master teacher. They report she exhibits sincere caring for the scholastic welfare of each student. Her patience and unflagging good humor coax even the least interested student to try harder. This is a teacher who is warm, yet to the point. Overlooks student inadequacies, yet details their need for improvement. She laughs with the students at their mistakes, but never makes them feel badly for making one. She is a warm, caring individual, a credit to her profession, and ladies and gentlemen, with great pleasure, I present the outstanding teacher for 1991, Jenny Nelson.
Bonsoir, mesdames, mesdemoiselles, messieurs. My colleagues and friends suggested that maybe I should say a few words to you in French, since that's the language I always use in the classroom. And so I shall begin by saying something I think you'll all understand, and that is merci. Merci first to all of my wonderful students, present and past. Throughout the years, I've never ceased to admire their motivation and dedication to learn. They have been determined to succeed in conquering the difficulties of learning a new language and culture. And their enthusiasm and perseverance has nurtured mine in return. After all, teaching is a partnership, and what I have given to them, they have returned to me 10,000-fold. Secondly, merci to all of my very dedicated and hardworking colleagues who have inspired me by their work at Lane. We all know that there are many outstanding instructors at Lane Community College, and I'm proud to represent them tonight. Finally, merci to my department and to Lane Community College, for they have given me the kind of supportive atmosphere which has allowed me to be the teacher that I am. Well, I'm deeply honored to accept this award, knowing that my students, our excellent school, and my hardworking colleagues have all contributed to make this moment possible. Je vous remercie beaucoup. Thank you very much.
On piano, on Green Dolphin Street.
I'd like you to welcome Jack Carter.
Thank you, Jerry. Well, I feel especially privileged and honored to be here tonight and share in this special occasion, that of recognizing the accomplishments of this year's graduating class. I'm told that they wanted somebody who was responsible to take this speaking assignment here this evening. And I suppose I'm qualified, because everywhere I ever worked, whenever anything went wrong, they always said I was the one responsible. Well, in preparing my comments for this evening, I couldn't help but think back over some of the previous LCC graduations. Since that first commencement in 1966, there have been changes both in a number of graduates as well in the location of the ceremony. Before construction of the present campus, we rented, I believe, the old Mayflower Theater on East 11th for the ceremony. I'm not even sure that building is still there. I believe that either the building or the spot's not going to be part of Sacred Heart. And if memory serves me correctly, we also borrowed South Eugene High School's auditorium once or twice. Shortly after moving to the present campus, we entered that interesting period in our history when it was customary for students to challenge almost anything or anyone that was traditional, including the wearing of caps and gowns or even attending graduation. I seem to remember we had a few students that extended their disdain for the traditional to soap, water, and deodorant as well. Well, during that graduation, attendance declined to the point where we held one ceremony in the cafeteria and we had room to spare. But fortunately, attitudes changed and graduation again became a popular event. So popular, in fact, that we outgrew the LCC Theater and we moved to the gymnasium. The gym was large enough, but the acoustics left much to be desired. It's great for basketball, but not so hot for a more dignified event. As each graduate was announced, family and friends would come down from the bleachers for congratulatory hugs and pictures. And you have to know there is no way to climb down 15 or 20 rows of bleachers quietly. With each graduate, the whole scene became more and more chaotic. One of the staff said he hadn't seen or heard such commotion since our one and only Grateful Dead concert. Well, enough of that. It truly is gratifying to see so many of you participating in this exercise tonight. And we are indeed fortunate that our community has a quality facility like the Holt Center in which to hold this event. Over the years, it's been my privilege to know a great number of LCC students. What a terrific group of individuals. There's a great quote by Henry Emerson Fosdick that I believe accurately portrays most LCC students. It goes like this: there are extraordinary possibilities in ordinary people. Eric Hoffer, the longshoreman philosopher, expressed a similar thought about the community college student when he visited our campus in 1968. Hoffer championed the accomplishments of ordinary people in much of his speaking and writing. He had high praise for us for what he called a college for the common man. Students come to Lane from all walks of life, men and women, young and old, from 16 years to over 80. There are those entering for the first time and those returning for retraining or skill updating. There are those planning on transferring and obtaining a 4-year degree, and those seeking new skills because of a job loss. They reflect a real cross-section of the college district, and they're augmented by those from other parts of the state, the nation, and the world, all seeking to improve their lives through increased knowledge and improved skills. Generally, a commencement speaker is supposed to say something inspirational to the graduates. But for me and my colleagues at Lane, we often found that it worked the other way. It is the students who provide the inspiration. In a few minutes, I will share some of the personal stories of this year's graduates, and perhaps you will understand better what I mean. The community college was invented in the United States to respond to the need for further educational opportunity for that 80% of the population not being served by other post-secondary institutions. That need for educational opportunity for all citizens is even more critical in today's world than it was 30 or so years ago at the start of the community college movement. The future is certainly not what it used to be. At times it seems we're hell-bent on self-annihilation. Change seems to come at ever-increasing rates, be it from a new technology or from some political, economic, or sociological issue, or from a combination of these factors. It seems that we just about get adjusted to one set of changes and along comes another to challenge us. When Christopher Columbus discovered the Americas, it was over 200 years before the world felt much of the effect of the new trade routes and the new lands to explore and settle that ultimately followed that discovery. Compare that to the fact that within 5 to 10 years of its commercial development, the microchip was making a significant impact on our lives. The time lag between a discovery or invention and its appearance in our lives has shortened dramatically just within my lifetime. Today, graduates must be able to work and grow in an environment of almost constant change. Change that brings new machinery, new processes, and new ways of thinking. Our graduates must be able to benefit from change, to be a part of what's new, instead of being replaced by change. In our own area, we're painfully aware of the impact of the significant changes occurring in the timber industry. Some on this stage tonight have found it necessary to train in a different field for better employment opportunity. And there will no doubt be many others to follow. The need for the opportunities afforded by Lane and other community colleges could hardly be more clear. This year's graduates will be joining that select group of individuals holding certificates and degrees from what we all know to be an outstanding institution. Each of you and your family and your friends have every right to be proud of your accomplishment. I asked the college staff to identify a few students from this year's class whose stories typify the commitment and quality of the LCC graduate. I had the pleasure of meeting with most of these for at least a few minutes earlier this evening, and I thank them for agreeing to share their stories. One student identified by the staff is Evelyn Browning. Evelyn actually started her career on a bus. 13 years ago, as a young mother of 4, soon to be 5 children, she became concerned when her husband had an accident. In her words, "I suddenly realized I had a bunch of kids and no education." Evelyn had always wanted to be a nurse, but after 20 years away from the books, she didn't know if she could make it in nursing school. She decided to start small by taking a few classes in the LCC outreach program that sent instruction on a bus to Leesburg once a week. She took all of the classes the bus offered, courses such as typing, shorthand, and business math. The outreach program gave me the confidence that I could pass a class, she remembers. 4 years ago, she entered the nursing program on campus, and this month, at the age of 50, she graduates. She says she couldn't have made it without the help and support of her husband and children. Her daughter, Mary Browning, is assistant editor of The Torch, LCC student newspaper. If it hadn't been for Mary and her friend, Evelyn doubts that she would have ever passed chemistry and algebra. She says she's still a little amazed that she managed to achieve her goal. Another student, Jerry Getty, credits LCC with turning her life around. 3 years ago, at the age of almost 50, she had just been divorced, she had no job, few skills, and poor health. A friend told her about the transitions course at Lane. She says the course boosted her confidence enough to enroll as a full-time student. She received financial aid, emotional support, and help with difficult classes. LCC's cooperative work experience placed her in a volunteer job with the U.S. Forest Service. The Forest Service later put her on the payroll, and she's now working as a night coordinator for the Spotted Owl Monitoring Program in the Willamette Forest, in a National Forest Oak Ridge Ranger District. Tonight, this 52-year-old mother of 4 and grandmother of 3 receives her Associate of Arts and Associate of Science degrees. She graduates with a GPA of 3.5 plus and a membership in Phi Theta Kappa. That's the National Honor Society. Jerry lives in Oak Ridge. She plans to attend LCC for 1 more year and then transfer to Oregon State University to obtain a 4-year degree in wildlife biology. She wants to continue working for the Forest Service. Jerry says, 3 years ago I didn't have anything. I didn't have a job, I didn't have my health, and I didn't have a future. Today she has her health back, a job she loves, and a future worth looking forward to. I credit so much of it to Lane, she says. Lane is full of remarkable people. The staff and the faculty are very supportive, very encouraging, and willing to help any student, in or outside of class. Another student, Brenda Spencer, says that starting college over at the age of 30 was scary, but it was easy compared to what she had already been through. In the mid-1980s, Brenda was a single parent of 4 children. She was working a full-time job at the Bohemia Mill in Culp Creek, commuting 50 miles to work from her home in Springfield. With the job and the commute and the time spent dropping off and picking up kids at the babysitters, she was putting in close to a 20-hour day. She worked in overdrive until her doctor told her that she was under too much pressure and she shouldn't return to her old job. So she and her kids were forced to live on unemployment and then on welfare for a time. Directed to the Dislocated Worker Program, Brenda enrolled at LCC in 1989. Tonight she graduates with a 3.33 GPA and experience working as a child care coordinator for the LCC Student Resource Centers. She's now remarried and a mother of 5. She hopes to get a job as a counseling aide and possibly working with juveniles. At 33, Brenda is justifiably proud of what she accomplished. Nobody in my family ever went to college, she says. Nobody could give me the push that I needed. It feels good that I went to college and graduated.
Heather R. Bloom, Associate of Applied Science degree, Graphic Design. Kathy Lynn Ritter, Associate of Applied Science degree, Graphic Design. Angela M. Mart, Associate of Arts degree. Laurie Ann Gertzen, Associate of Arts degree. John Alexander Ivanhoff, Associate of Applied Science degree, Graphic Design. Mary Beth Safer, Associate of Applied Science degree, Graphic Design. Mark Smith, Associate of Applied Science degree, Graphic Design. William Daniel Hastings, Associate of Applied Science degree, Graphic Design.
Carol Ann Plunkett, Associate of Applied Science degree, Dental Hygiene. Patricia S. Roberts, Associate of Applied Science degree, Dental Hygiene. Carol Ruth Entz, Associate of Applied Science degree, Dental Hygiene. Jess D. Williams Jr., Associate of Applied Science degree, Respiratory Care. Richard Dean Bond, Associate of Applied Science degree, Respiratory Care. Dwight Lee Wilson, Associate of Applied Science degree, Respiratory Care. Donald C. Horn, Associate of Applied Science degree, Respiratory Care. Terry L. Biggs, Associate of Applied Science degree, Respiratory Care. Shelley Z. Klappholz, Associate of Applied Science degree, Respiratory Care. Richard Eugene Holmes, Associate of Applied Science degree, Respiratory Care. Denise L. Anderson, Associate of Applied Science degree, Respiratory Care. Michael John Dunlap, Associate of Applied Science degree, Respiratory Care. Timothy Patrick Moore, Associate of Applied Science degree, Respiratory Care. Karen Sacker, Associate of Applied Science degree, Respiratory Care. Carol Buckham, Associate of Applied Science degree, Respiratory Care. Jeffrey L. Brown, Associate of Applied Science degree, Respiratory Care. Christy J. Friedman, Associate of Applied Science degree, Community Service. Melinda K. Keith, Associate of Applied Science degree, Community Services. Scott Allen Matty, Associate of Applied Science degree, Community Service. Cynthia Lynn Snyder, Associate of Applied Science degree, Community Service. Brenda Spencer, Associate of Applied Sciences, Community Services.
Gregory James Howe, Aviation Maintenance Technician, Associate of Applied Science degree. Rory Keith Stillman, Associate of Applied Science degree, Aviation Maintenance Technician. Michael J. Halperty, Associate of Applied Science degree, Aviation Maintenance Technician, Brandy G. Harbo, Associate of Applied Science degree, Aviation Maintenance Technician, Certificate Aviation Maintenance Technician. Congratulations. Scott W. Joyner, Aviation Maintenance Technician, Associate of Applied Science degree and certificate. John E. Fair, Associate of Applied Science degree, Aviation Maintenance Technician, Certificate Aviation Maintenance Certificate. James N. Dundon, Associate of Applied Science degree, Aviation Maintenance Technician, Certificate Aviation Maintenance Technician. Gary Allen Combs, Associate of Applied Science degree, Aviation Maintenance Technician, Certificate Aviation Maintenance Technician. Michael Green, Aviation Maintenance, Aviation degree. Michael G. Weiss, Associate Applied Science degree, Aviation Maintenance Technician, Certificate Aviation Maintenance Technician. Karen L. Stewart, Associate Applied Science degree, Flight Technology, Criminal Justice. Locke K. Names, Associate Applied Science degree, Flight Technology. Edward J. Krupp, Associate Applied Science degree, Flight Technology. Brent J. Mobley, Associate Applied Science degree, Flight Technology. Tracy Russell Robinson, Associate Applied Science degree, Flight Technology. Eric Wayne Hingley, Associate Applied Science degree, Flight Technology. Russell Ruben Larrabee, Associate of Applied Science degree, Applied Technology. Scott Allen Chartier, Associate Applied Science degree, Applied Technology.
Each and every one of you for coming out and sharing this really important evening for all of us. And now I would like to ask all of you please to keep the aisles clear for the recessional. Well, faculty will retire first, followed by the students.